The sun is shining in the sky, hardly a cloud in sight, and we are going to have a fantastic race here today.
Drivers, start your engine!
Cause we want retribution.
But coming to the green here, it's getting cleaned out real well. Pace car's off, kick some ass, have
There's
fun.
the green flag and we're underway.
Green, 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 green. Outside, still there at your door. Good job, man. Nice and solid. Take care of yourself.
Three wide.
Here, Hawkins into the wall.
Oh, big trouble!
Crash in the back. Oh, there's a crash in the back.
Trouble.
Great job, doing awesome, buddy.
Hello, race fans. I'm not sure why the music isn't even playing, but there we go. That definitely sounds way more entertaining than what we were just greeted with. But welcome back here to the Daytona International Speedway, where tonight we will set the starting lineup for the 2025 Daytona 500, the season opening race for the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. But on top of figuring out who's going to start where in the Daytona 500, we're also going to figure out who will claim the final 4 spots in the Great American Race. Because remember, coming into this week, at least as of yesterday, there were 36 spots, of course, with 36 drivers that were already guaranteed into the show, with 6 spots up for grabs. Of course, 2 were already locked in. Obviously, the front row of the Great American Race being captured by both Michael DeFeo and Travis Crampton, 2 drivers that either had to time their way in or race their way in. They managed to get all the way to the final round, along with Chase McClure. But at the end of it all, of course, it was DeFeo and Crampton who both secured the front row for this year's Daytona 500. As for Chase McClure and others, they will have to race their way in to this Saturday's Daytona 500. It is definitely going to be a pretty interesting one at that. 30 laps for each duel here at Daytona. And it's definitely going to be pretty interesting, to say the least. And it's also going to be fun to watch to see what these drivers are going to do under 30 laps, because it's 27 cars per each duel. But the intensity rate is definitely going to be pretty high, especially since there are drivers that are in this desperation mode when it comes to having to race their way in to the biggest race of the season. With that said, for duel number 1, let's go ahead and take a look at your starting lineup for the first duel. So, of course, DeFeo locks himself in after winning the pole. So he is safe along with Travis Crampton. Then we get all the way down to Gabriel Wanderlei. He's somebody else to watch out for, but he has to race his way in to the Daytona 500. It's definitely going to be pretty interesting to see how this first duel goes, because this will kind of be like the duel that the second group will watch, so that way they can learn what to do and what not to do. And in other words, just kind of make this duel a little bit more entertaining. There's Janiah Hill, Jordan Subner, both those drivers have to race in. And then we get all the way down to 21st through 27th. There's Addison Jarrell, the 2021 ARCOM Pepsi Amateur Series champion. She has to race her way in, along with Josiah Munsell and Joshua Cornish. CG Halt taking the provisional here in 27th. So, of course, 30 laps to distance here for duel number 1. This is definitely going to be pretty entertaining, to say the least. I don't even know. I'm kind of just repeating myself at this point, but definitely sun's out, and it's a very beautiful day here at the World Center of Racing, and a beautiful day to go racing. Just 2 more days until the Great American Race of the Daytona 500. But in order to get to that point, we need to figure out who's going to be starting where, who's going to make it in, and who is going home. And it all starts here. Drivers strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are wrapping up, but in order to get these 27 cars on the racetrack,
Drivers, start your engines.
we had to get the command, and we just got it. Engines fired, pace car is going to roll off, and so will these 27 competitors. This 100% is going to be a little nerve-wracking to watch. Given the fact that there are 4 more spots up for grabs, 2 drivers that have to race their way in both duels. At least 2 per duel will be able to get in. All those other 2 drivers have to do, all basically the other drivers that have to race their way in, that have the red stripes, all they got to do is be ahead of the rest, and they will be in the show. So, of course, as you see there's Michael DeFeo starting on the pole, not just in this duel, but he will start first for this Saturday's Daytona 500. Wyatt Walker, who's also been pretty fast, he'll line up alongside DeFeo. Then row 2, that's Caleb Rose in the 59, Claire Phillips in the 5, that's your second row. Alex Bonsignor and Noah Clifton make up the third row. Eric Monaco and Andrew Miller, that's row number 4. And then you get back to row number 5. That would have to be the number 86 of Rogel Dorn, who's in his first WRLA season. And then Gabriel Wanderlei, an OG to the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series, raced in the first season back in 2017, along with a few other drivers like Alex Bonsignor, for instance. But it's definitely going to be pretty interesting. The age and experience versus the youth and daring do. But of course, a lot of these drivers in real life, you know, they can span a different amount of ages, but the demographic for sure is pretty young. But that's besides the point. Pace car is in. Michael DeFeo and Wyatt Walker will lead the field to the green flag to get duel number 1 started from here at Daytona. Good start for Michael DeFeo. He breaks out with the advantage. Caleb Rose will move up into the second position. Alex Bonsignor in third. Wyatt Walker still trapped up on the outside. He fell back to 4th and might fall back to 5th here as he's under attack from Eric Monaco to his inside. They come off turn number 4. Back to the start-finish line. Michael DeFeo leads the first lap of action here in this first Axalta duel. 30 laps each. And these duels are definitely going to go by pretty quickly. And these drivers that have to race their way in, they're not going to have a whole lot of time to really think about what they got to do. They'll have time, but it's not going to be enough, of course. So if you are in the position of Gabriel Wanderlei right now, I mean, obviously you're in a really good spot. Gabriel Wanderlei, Jordan Sumner, currently both of those drivers are in. Obviously, Michael DeFeo is locked in because he won the pole, and he also locked himself in because of that as well. So, as far as for drivers like Gabriel Wanderlei and Jordan Sumner, they're currently safe as of right now. Everybody else behind them, you have Josiah Munsell, Janiah Hill. They are, of course, in the trouble spot, because they are going to have to get the 2 transfer positions to get into the Daytona 500. And currently, Gabriel Wanderlei and Jordan Sumner, they have those positions. Josiah Munsell is looking to challenge Jordan Sumner as he lines up on that inside line. Janiah Hill is going to go with him. And they are 3 wide further up at the front of the field. They are shuffling Wyatt Walker right out in that third lane. Nobody is electing to go with him as Alex Bonsignor takes over the lead, with Eric Monaco in second, Rogel Dorn in the third position. As we're kind of looking back over here at towards the middle of the pack right now. The driver that holds on, I mean, obviously Gabriel Wanderlei, as of right now, he holds on to that transfer spot, the final one, but he just got passed by Janiah Hill, who is on the inside line. So Hill, as of right now, holds on to one of the two transfer positions. And now she's gonna, well, I thought she was gonna get to the inside of Josiah Munsell. Looks like she will right here. There's Josiah Munsell, who won the 2020 Daytona 500. Pretty much in a similar fashion as to what happened back in 2020. Managed to time his way in. Managed to get up front and win the Daytona 500. That was just 5 years ago, but things are definitely looking pretty different and a little bit more competitive, as up front, Rogel Dorn has taken over the top position. Eric Monaco now being shoved up to the outside line. Val Mosco in the 33 moves up into the second position. Then it's side by side for the third spot. Bonsignor in the middle. Terry Walker now down on the inside. I thought he was going to put the 59 straight in the middle of a three-wide situation, but that was not the case, as Mosco goes to the inside of Dorn to take over the lead. 5 laps in the books. We are 1/6 of the way through this Axalta duel from here at Daytona International Speedway. Just in case if you missed anything, you really haven't missed a whole lot, other than these drivers are definitely pretty close together at speeds of about over 195 miles an hour, almost 200. As Caleb Rose takes over the top position. A duo of Toyotas nose to tail with Walker and Andrew Ramsey. Kyle Craven almost made it 3 abreast. He's got his teammate of Campbell Marshall right behind him. Now, when it comes to the duels, I mean, it is very, very beneficial to have teammates in these duels. That way you both can depend on one another and try to find each other whenever you can. If you have no teammates, that can be a good and bad thing. It just depends on your friends, because in this type of situation where you're racing at a super speedway, whether it be Daytona or Talladega, or if you want to count it, Atlanta, your friends are where you find them. And so far, some of these drivers, especially for Josiah Munsell, he's a single car operation. Your friends are pretty much where you find them as of right now. So Walker takes over the top position, Terry Walker, that is, followed by Ramsey. And then the two American Motorsports cars of Craven and Marshall. They're both third and fourth right now. Josiah Munsell, who is currently, as of right now, in the Great American Race. He holds on to the transfer spot along with Janiah Hill. Hill currently also holds on to a transfer position to get into the Daytona 500. So we'd have to go all the way back to the next car that would have to race their way in. That's Addison Jarrell in the 13 machine. She's all the way towards the back of the field, almost mid-pack as of right now. But she is about, I'd say, 3 cars, yes, at least 3 to 4 cars behind Janiah Hill as of right now, who holds on to that final transfer spot. So in order for Addison Jarrell to have any sort of opportunity to make the Daytona 500, she definitely is going to have to go now, or at least try to hang in there and try to make sure, or hope and pray that Hill ends up finding herself in the middle, either literally in the middle of a 3-wide situation, or trapped up on the third line on the outside, because we've seen just a little bit ago how much you can really benefit from being in that third line. You have absolutely no friends up there. And that's exactly what we're seeing towards the further in the back of the field. Monaco and Phillips now being shoved up to that third line at the tail end of the field. And up front, Kyle Craven takes over the top position. Josiah Munsell, Janiah Hill currently nose to tail right now. And here comes Munsell. I thought he was going to have some form of a run to the inside, but he didn't quite get the nose underneath of the 28 quite quick enough. So currently, as of right now, Craven would start third for the Daytona 500. as we're about 10 laps in, 20 to go, this time by. Your top 10, as they're going to cross the stripe this time around, will look as follows here, as we are almost halfway here in this first Axalta duel. It is Kyle Craven who leads the charge, with Josiah Munsell sitting in the second position. Then Janiah Hill sits third. Quentin Moore driving for Durrani Racing. Ended up selling off the assets of his team to Joshua Cornish, but he currently sits fourth right now. Then fifth is Terry Walker. CG Halt after starting in the provisional. He's in the sixth position, currently scored fifth, but he moved up a couple spots. Then sixth or seventh would be Campbell Marshall. Reagan Whitlock would be eighth. Andrew Ramsey ninth, and Addison Jarrell would be inside of the top 10. But the positions are starting to shuffle up just a little bit more. Hill managed to get to the inside of Munsell, so Josiah Munsell is in trouble because obviously you saw Addison Jarrell. She's creeping up in the top 10. This is exactly what Addison Jarrell needs if she's going to have an opportunity to get into the Daytona 500. And so far, she's just a little bit closer now to that number 26 of Munsell, who is trapped up on that third line as they head back into the third corner. But Janiah Hill's also finding herself on the outside. That is definitely not a good sign here for either driver as of right now. But the only saving grace for Janiah Hill, as now she's holding onto the final transfer spot as of right now, is number one, Munsell is pretty much on the outside looking in to get into the 500. But the next car back that would be on the inside line, well, you'd have to look all the way back to Joshua Cornish, who is at the tail end of the field. And then and of course, Michael DeFeo's trapped up on the outside. But remember, he's locked in because he timed his way in and is the pole sitter. So there's not much to really hope for if you're hoping and praying that Michael DeFeo to fail to qualify for the 500. But Craven continues to hold on. Here's Reagan Whitlock in the number 9 machine. She's been a part of WRLA since 2017. Another veteran to the series, as here comes Addison Jarrell in the 13. The 2021 Arcom Pepsi Amateur Series champion, working her way down to the inside to take over the second position. Bruno DiGiacomo, the second Appalachia Motorsports machine, is up towards the front of the field as we're closing in on the halfway mark of this first Axalta duel. So far, nobody's been able to challenge Kyle Craven. Ever since he took the lead away, he's been smooth sailing. Nothing much has really happened up at the front of as far as first place goes, but from second on back, everybody's kind of been shuffling around, and I mean that's kind of been somewhat good news for Kyle Craven, as he's definitely hoping and praying that he could get himself the best possible starting position in the Daytona 500. Other than first or second, he would start third, as I mentioned a little bit ago, because with these duels, as far as duels 1 and 2, duel 1 pretty much will determine the starting lineup for the inside line. And then the outside line is in duel 2. Here's the battle 3 wide for the race lead, as they're going to shuffle Kyle Craven out of the way. Jarrell and DiGiacomo pretty much had the similar idea, but DiGiacomo definitely thought 2 steps ahead. New race leader, it's Bruno DiGiacomo in the 95, as we're halfway here in this Axalta duel. Alexander Rowe looking to challenge on that number 34 machine. So of course, all 3 American Motorsports machines are in this duel, but of course they're not out of it, obviously, to try to get themselves the best possible starting position. There's Andrew Miller in the 96 machine, challenging for the second position, getting a little bit of a push from the 86 of Rogel Dorn. Miller's teammate Noah Clifton not too far behind the number 99 machine. There's Stephen Colon in the 25. And look way in the back, that's Janiah Hill in the 7, trapped up on the outside line and is starting to fade back in the number 7 machine. Things are definitely looking very troublesome for Hill as of right now, but it is not over yet because, as we've seen, some drivers that were in the back, they got shuffled up to the front, and then drivers that were in the front got shuffled into the back. So there's been a lot of flip-flopping here in this race, but of course, not as much as you would typically see at any other version of Daytona. It's been a little bit more realistic, so to speak, but of course, 4 cars single file, 2 Chevys, 3 Fords. And of course, the 3 Fords, Miller, Dorn, and Clifton, are all nose to tail right now. So this is definitely not good news if you're Bruno Di Giacomo, because there is a high possibility that you could get shuffled up into that second line here heading into turn number 1. And that's exactly what's happening, because here comes Andrew Miller to the inside. But Noah Clifton, who is Miller's teammate, goes right underneath the Rugel. Dorn pretty much abandons him for his own teammate, who takes the lead, heading down the back straightaway. Here comes Stephen Colon in the 25 to make it 3 wide for the race lead. Thought it was going to be for second, but this was 3 wide for the top position as they come through turn 4. And Stephen Colon is going to take over the top position here with 12 laps remaining here in this Axalta duel. And as of right now, the drivers that hold on to those transfer positions, of course, I would believe Addison Jarrell holds on to 1. Actually, Joshua Cornish holds on to the first transfer spot. The second one would go to Jordan Sumner in the number 20, who is just outside of the top 10 as of right now, as of scoring. Scoring shows that she's outside of the top 10, but she's got a shot to make the Daytona 500 as of right now. Pole sitter Michael DeFeo is coming back into the mix. Things are definitely heating up as we're winding down here in duel number 1 here in Daytona. Eric Monaco challenging Quentin Moore for the second position. Of course, Monaco will win that fight since he has help with Noah Clifton right behind him. Quentin Moore didn't have a partner, but now Joshua Cornish gets moved up to the outside by Claire Phillips. Phillips going to try to get inside of the top 5, which she will right here. And here comes Jordan Sumner in the number 20 to try to pass the 89 of Cornish, to take over the number 1 transfer spot to get into the Daytona 500 and put the 89 of Cornish on the bubble as we're closing in on the 10 lap to go mark, this time by as they come off of turn number 4. Monaco takes the lead away from the 25 of Stephen Colon. 10 fingers up in the air, 10 laps to go here in Axalta duel number 1. Nothing short of entertaining as of right now. Sumner currently holds on again to that number 1 seed that would lock herself into the Daytona 500. Cornish holds on to the second, at least for this duel. That may not be too good news right there, as you saw DeFeo kind of flirt with peeking to the inside of Jordan Sumner to make it 3 wide. But he understands that he's on the pole for the Daytona 500, and he's also locked in regardless of what happens, but he's on the pole, so he really shouldn't be making a whole lot of these moves, especially for drivers that are trying to get into the Daytona 500, like Jordan Sumner, for instance. You don't necessarily want to grief other drivers that are trying to get in, but then again, for other drivers, it's to try to get the best possible starting position, so that doesn't really matter too much if you're not the pole sitter. But Sumner currently holding on to third. Cornish is falling outside of the top 10, but Sumner gets trapped up on the outside line. She tried to go with Claire Phillips, who is going to challenge for the race lead. She is going to get picked up by Michael DeFeo and Alex Bonsinger. That whole inside line is pretty much organized, but you look further back. There's Josiah Munsell in the number 26 machine, who is not too far behind Joshua Cornish and may have a possible chance of getting by him. So far, it's looking like that's going to happen. Here it comes to the inside, heading back through turns 1 and 2. That outside line, though, definitely got a little bit more organized and managed to break away. At least not really break away, but more so get a better run around the outside than the inside lane did. But here comes Gabriel Wanderlei. Wanderlei trying to get around the 26 of Munsell, but Not really a whole lot of success in that move right there, but as you see here, Munsell is to the inside of Cornish to try to get around him to take that transfer spot away across the stripe. He's got it by 7/100ths of a second as of right now. Gabriel Wanderlei is right on the back bumper as they head through 1 and 2 yet again. So the fight pretty much is going to be for that final transfer position, unless if both Munsell and Wanderlei can stay nose to tail and try to catch up to Jordan Sumner, because Sumner currently holds on to that number 1 seed as of right now. She's still hanging on to it, but she's also on the outside line, which is definitely not good news whatsoever, as DeFeo takes the lead back with 6 laps to go here in Axalta Duel number 1. As we take a look further in the back of the field, there's Asin Jarrell. She's at the tail end. You also have Janiyah Hill, who is also in a very, very, very bad situation as of right now. So if she wants to get into the Daytona 500, she's got to go now, and she's either got to have hope and pray for a lot to happen here within these next 5.5 laps, or if she has to make a lot of moves in order to get into the Great American Race. The same can be said for Joshua Cornish or Addison Jarrell. There's so much on the line right now if you're a driver that is not safe from elimination when it comes to making the Daytona 500. Bonsinger takes the race lead away. You saw that move happen on the bottom of your screen for 5 laps to go here in the Daytona, here in the Duels, here Daytona for duel number 1. Gabriel Wanderlei now has the transfer position over Jordan Sumner, who just got shuffled out. So that means Munsell and Wanderlei would both be in the Daytona 500 as of right now, as they currently hold on to those 2 transfer spots lined up on the inside line. Another car behind, that is Andrew Ramsey, but you look back behind him, that's Janiyah Hill in the 7. Hill also trying to make the Daytona 500 via this duel. And she's got to hope and pray that something happens up there with those 2 drivers that have those transfer spots. 4 laps of racing to go here in Axalta Duel number 1. Bonsinger holding on with Alexander Rowe in tow. Terry Walker now moving up into the 3rd position. But while all that's happening, all eyes are on these 2 drivers, or really in this particular portion of the pack, to see what is going to happen. As Alexander Rowe goes to the inside to try to take over the race lead here in this duel to try to start 3rd for the Daytona 500. We're coming down to 3 laps of racing to go, and time is running out. Time is running out for some of these other drivers if they want to make some moves, if they want to try to get up either to the front of the field so where they can get the best possible starting position. They got to go now. If you're a driver that is in desperation to try to make the Daytona 500, you have to make something happen right here, right now. If you're Janiyah Hill, that opportunity is right there. It could very well happen. They almost went 3 wide there for a second. I thought Gabriel Wanderlei was going to try to go 3 abreast there, but I'm not sure exactly what happened. But they come off of turn number 4. Popsicle sticks up in the air. 2 laps of racing to go. Rowe holds on to the top position. Campbell Marshall not too far behind. And Josiah Munsell, Gabriel Wanderlei, they hold on to those 2 transfer spots still as of right now. But things definitely looking pretty grim for everybody else behind these 2 drivers. But Wanderlei is teasing the move to the inside. This might be good news for Janiyah Hill if things play out the way that they do. Ooh, but Josiah Munsell managed to stay out ahead enough, or to stay up on the outside to maintain that number 1 seed. But they come off of turn number 4. White flag falls. 1 final lap here at Daytona. Alexander Rowe leads it. And a lot may happen here. Here comes the number 58 of Gabriel Wanderlei to try to get to the inside of Josiah Munsell, but Munsell slams the door on Wanderlei. He is not wanting to go to the inside. He is not wanting to be shoved up into that second line. The door is opened up here for Hill to try to make something happen, but here comes Munsell to the inside of Alexander Rowe. And that may exactly be the thing that he needs, and that's the thing that Gabriel Wanderlei needs. Checkers are in the air, and Josiah Munsell wins duel number 1. He transfers on along with Gabriel Wanderlei. Both drivers will race in the Daytona 500 this Saturday. How about that? If you're Josiah Munsell, you have a chance at winning a second Daytona 500. If you're Gabriel Wanderlei, you're making your first Daytona 500. You're making your first WRLA Pepsi Cup Series appearance since July of 2017. This has to be huge for these two drivers. But if you're Janiah Hill, if you're Addison Jarrell, Jordan Sumner, just to name a few here in this duel that had to race their way in, you definitely have to feel your stomach turning, as unfortunately none of those drivers will be racing this Saturday. They will have to load up and go home. And as far as those drivers are concerned, they will have to gear up and get ready for Rockingham next Friday, as there's going to be qualifying sessions over there. But these are your results here for duel number 1. Of course, Josiah Munsell, Gabriel Wanderlei, they stuck nose to tail the entire way through, and they will advance on into this Saturday's Daytona 500. Of course, with Munsell starting 3rd, and Gabriel Wanderlei will start 5th in the Great American Race. This definitely was a very, very entertaining duel too. I mean, I will definitely, I was going to say, to say the least, because that's usually the only other thing that my brain kind of defaults to, but nonetheless, Alexander Rowe, great starting spot for him. Tough break, of course, for Janiah Hill. A lot started to happen, but of course it happened just a little too late, and definitely not the way that things wanted to pan out for her. But of course, for McGuire Motorsports, there is still one more chance, because Bobby McGuire is in the second duel. So there is still a little bit of hope left over for McGuire Motorsports. Addison Jarrell, unfortunately, this is the one and only attempt that she was going to have to make the Daytona 500, so she is going to have to load up and go home. Michael DeFeo, of course, is on the pole, so it doesn't really matter where he finishes, and he's already locked into the Daytona 500 regardless, so it doesn't really matter what happens, or really where he finishes, because he's in the Great American Race, and will start on pole, as I mentioned. Jordan Sumner looked like that she was going to have a great result and have a good of course, my microphone decided to cut off the moment I moved my leg. But anyways, as far as Jordan Sumner goes, she was going to have a good opportunity to make the Daytona 500, but unfortunately, of course, she got trapped up on the outside line, which opened up the door for Munsell and Wanderlei to advance on. And of course, for Joshua Cornish, very, very tough break. Just did not have any sort of momentum whatsoever. I mean, of course, other than probably a few spotlight moments here and there, when it comes down to just trying to, as far as getting up towards the front of the field. But other than that, really not a whole lot of noise that was made from Joshua Cornish. So, of course, those drivers, with the exception of Addison Jarrell, will have to get ready for Rockingham next Friday. So, to try to make that race. But that was duel number 1. And when we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get the starting lineup set up for you when it comes down to duel number 2. So, we'll take a quick break and get the roster set up and ready to go. And we'll get ready for duel number 2. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
drivers to your cars.
If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite. If you want to watch a stream, you have to be ad-free because he gives you like 3 in an hour or minute. Please just do what he wants and he will give you the victory royale because he is very good at Fortnite. Not really, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he is really good at Fortnite. Yeah, he is good at Fortnite.
And welcome back here to the Daytona International Speedway. We are getting ready for our second duel of the night. If the last duel was pretty entertaining, of course, then who knows? We might see something similar here in the second duel. And we definitely saw a lot of intense moments there, especially halfway through and even close to 10 to go in that Axalta duel. But now we're getting ready here for the second duel here tonight. Of course, Travis Crampton will be starting second in the Daytona 500, but he will lead the field to green here for this second Axalta duel. Let's go ahead and take a look at your starting lineup for duel number 2. Of course, Chase McClure came pretty close to timing his way into the 500, but unfortunately, he will have to race his way in. He starts outside pole. There's Ajax Fitzgerald. For Lightstar Racing Co., John Andrews, both of those drivers will have to race their way in. Gabriel Wanderley was able to race in. So who knows? Maybe somebody like him, John Andrews, or even William Brock, 2 of those drivers that are only attempting the Daytona 500, they could race their way in here tonight. Maybe even Ray Atikian, Nikki Fox, or even Bobby Maguire. As far as for Maguire Motorsports, as I mentioned, they have one more shot, of course, with Bobby Maguire himself to try to make the show. As you see, Nia Steidel starting in the back, along with Ryan Gondillo. There's also Nathan Stapleton, Braden Perez. They are all starting towards the caboose here for Axalta Duel number 2. But definitely a lot to watch out for here. Yet another 30 laps of action. And a lot can definitely happen within those 30 laps, and a lot of split decisions. But it is going to be very, very interesting and very fun to watch here for duel number 2. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen here in this duel. It probably might be similar racing, but you never quite know. I mean, anything could possibly happen. We could see a wreck here for duel number 2, but you never quite know. But let's see what these drivers have learned from duel number 1 to learn what to do and what not to do, as they've been kind of sitting on the sidelines here watching duel number 1. So let's see what happens here in duel number 2. Drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just now starting to wrap up. Well, there really were no pre-race ceremonies because they already happened at the beginning of the show. But anyways, drivers are strapped into their cars. They're ready to go. So let's go trackside to get the command for duel number 2.
Drivers, start your engines!
Definitely not to take this the wrong way, but I definitely need to work on my my pausing game there for a second, because we were sitting there for way too long. But of course, you see drivers are already rolling off after they fired up their engines. Of course, another 30 laps, and this will determine the final 2 spots. The 2 drivers that will claim the final 2 spots to see who will get themselves into the Great American Race this Saturday. Travis Crampton, of course, is safe from elimination here when it comes to the Daytona 500 as far as racing his way in, because, of course, he locked himself in via that qualifying speed from last night, and he also is one outside pole alongside Michael DeFeo. So part-timers will be leading the field to the green flag. So definitely going to be very, very fun to watch here on Saturday to see what 42 cars on the racetrack is going to look like. Chase McClure, another driver that has to race his way in. He is not safe as far as, elimination from trying to get into the Daytona 500. Same for Ajax Fitzgerald. John Andrews, our 2024 NRLA McDonald's Cup Series champion, who came off of a very, very dominating season as of course, 3 months ago. Won 3 races last year, one at Bristol, one in Indianapolis, and then Martinsville, and had probably one of the largest points leads in McDonald's Cup Series history, almost about 99-point advantage. So he pretty much ran away with the championship at that point, but let's see if he can make the Daytona 500, try to keep that run going. Pace car is set to dive down to pit road this time by, and this will put the field in the hands of Travis Crampton and the 52 of Chase McClure to get duel number 2 underway. There's the green flag, and here we go. Same song, a little bit of a different dance as Travis Crampton holds on to the top position heading into turn number 3. Jerry Rose wasting zero time whatsoever, already trying to capitalize on second on Skylar Taylor. Taylor's another driver who managed to bring a really good piece of equipment here as they come off of turn number 4. Crampton leads lap number 1, but of course Taylor finds themselves up on the outside line here early in the going, but of course there's still a little bit of ways to go, so they might find themselves in a little bit of a better position towards the end of this thing, as here comes their boss and teammate. That's Aaron Abel in the number 43 for Racing Motorsports in their first official WRLA season, so definitely going to be very fun to watch them as this year progresses on. As here comes Jerry Rose to the inside of Travis Crampton to take over the race lead. And already we're starting to see something a little bit different than what we saw in duel number 1. Of course, early in the going, we saw a little bit of single file towards the front of the field, but just for a brief second. But Andrews takes it. Well, it gets put in the middle 3 wide as Taylor goes to the inside to try to move back up into third. But as of right now, Andrews and also the 52 of Chase McClure hold on to the transfer spots, but not for much longer when it comes to McClure, because here comes Ray Atikian in the 45 to try to race his way into the Daytona 500. And he's got a pretty good opportunity of doing it. He's driving for Trinity River Racing, number 1, but also number 2. He's been in this spot where he has been locked into the Daytona 500. Well, not really locked into the 500 2 years ago, because we didn't start the season with the Daytona 500. We started at Michigan in April. But for this year, it is quite different. It is a little bit more traditional. But for Ray Atikian, he is having to race his way into the 500 here tonight, and so far he's got the transfer position that will lock himself into the Great American Race. John Andrews now being relegated to the driver that holds on to the final transfer spot as of right now. Actually, no, I lied. Nikki Fox is up here. She's got the first transfer spot, and Ray Atikian holds on to the final seed to get into the Daytona 500. I did not even notice that Nikki Fox was up here in the 4th spot, but right now it is 5-6 cars single file until you get back over here to the number 69 of Russell Blaze, who is contesting for the 7th position on Zachary Fitzwater. How about that? A rookie going after a veteran. Of course, Zachary Fitzwater, lots of experience to his name. Of course, over within the last decade, pretty much deemed as the most successful driver in NR 2003 history. You don't believe me? Go ask AG, formerly known as Napa Fan. You could probably also ask Andrew Miller. You could ask Seth Cole. This guy has definitely done a lot in the community, and he has won himself a lot of races and a lot of championships. I mean, even last year, he wound up finally winning a McDonald's Cup Series race at Watkins Glen in pretty dominating fashion. So this man is really not a stranger to victory lane. So we could see him win a race, maybe even 2 this year here in the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series. That's something that he's still yet to add on to his resume as WRLA Pepsi Cup Series winner. As up front, Jerry Rose takes over the race lead. Sebastian Vaughn moving up into the 2nd position for Moonstar Enterprise. Of course, Moonstar Enterprise is going to be in the 500 regardless with Sebastian Vaughn. Unfortunately, Jordan Sumner failed to make the show. But for Sebastian Vaughn, he's up in the 2nd position, and he's going to try to get, well, maybe he could make an attempt to take the lead away from Jerry Rose. He's got a 4 teammate behind him in Russell Blaze here in this number 69 machine for Durrani Racing. But patience right now is just a tad bit of a virtue as of right now. Here comes William Brock in the 62 down on the inside to try to take one of the transfer spots away. Currently, as of right now, actually, he holds on to the final transfer spot. Ray Atikian holds on to the number 1 seed, but he gets put up to the outside by the 62 of William Brock. Kyler Sustry not too far behind. Sustry has to race his way into the Daytona 500. And so far, he has a pretty good opportunity at trying to make the Great American Race. He's right behind William Brock as of right now. He's going to get by Rayatikian here as they head back through turns 1 and 2 as of right now. But you look at a little bit further in the back, of course, they are 3 abreast, at least 3 rows deep. So a little bit more of aggressive racing here in this duel compared to what we saw in the last duel. So definitely very, very interesting to see as we're almost a third of the way here through duel number 2. If you just missed the action, of course, we just completed duel number 1. As far as just in case, if you're wondering exactly who won duel number 1, it was Josiah Munsell. Munsell was one of the drivers that had to race his way into the Daytona 500, but he definitely kept his nose clean. He won the race, and the second driver that transferred with him, Gabriel Wanderlei. So Gabriel Wanderlei will be making the show along with Josiah Munsell. We'll see them both this Saturday in the Daytona 500. So as of right now, we're figuring out who will be the final 2 drivers. Who will be the 2 drivers to claim the final transfer spots to get into the Great American Race. And so far, it has been a banger within these first within these first 10 laps. Already coming around to complete lap 9. Wayne Lopez takes the lead away from Sebastian Vaughn, who gets trapped up on the 3rd line. And William Brock now trapped up in the 2nd groove as Sustry holds on to the number 1 spot to get him into the Daytona 500. Nia Steidel, who started further in the back, is already moved up into the 3rd position. And there's Tanner Parton, who won at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park back in 2023 in his rookie season when Otter Island Motorsports, Otter Island Motorsports was in the Pepsi Cup Series. Unfortunate that Otter Island Motorsports did not return to WRLA, but who knows, we might see them back in action maybe in 2026. Just like how I mentioned about William Brock potentially returning along with Full Frontal Motorsports. There's a lot of things that could happen between now and next year, but there's still a lot of time. As Sustry didn't even lead the lap. Wayne Lopez just barely led it over Kyler Sustry. Just imagine this. Sustry would have made the Daytona 500 and William Brock would have also transferred on with him. Man, that would have been really, really close right there between Sustry and Wayne Lopez if that was the finish of the Daytona 500. If we check a little bit further towards the back of the field, of course, a third of the way through here in Axalta duel number 2, as we get a look further back here with Rayatikian. Just about mid-pack. There's Bobby McGuire in the number 3 machine, trailing the number 51 of Ryan Gondello, another longtime veteran of the WRLA Pepsi Cup Series, scaled back to part-time competition, in 2023. And trying to pretty much keep it at part-time as of right now. Pretty much just having himself a good old time as of right now. He doesn't really have a whole lot to lose especially out driving on a limited schedule, trying to make all the races. But so far, things are looking pretty good right now for Ryan Gondello. But I mean, of course, he doesn't have either a transfer spot that would guarantee him a spot in the Daytona 500. But as of right now, I mean, he's actually running pretty solid. 3 wide, 2 rows deep up here. Zachary Taylor takes the lead. There's Nathan Stapleton in the 97 who's going to try to challenge with Braden Perez on his back bumper. And Valkyrie Rayatikian in the 23 is there as well, as Stapleton takes the lead away from Zachary Taylor as they race back into turn number 1. But they are 3 wide, 2, maybe even 3 rows deep. I'd say 2.5 because some drivers may be a half a car length ahead when it comes to those turns. But, definitely a lot could happen there. But as the transfer spots change hands, William Brock and now Bobby McGuire hold on to those 2 transfer spots that would guarantee themselves into the Daytona 500. Kyler Sustry, Ajax Fitzgerald will find themselves on the outside looking in. Same can be said for John Andrews, Martin Nixon, Chase McClure. Those drivers are definitely going to have to make a lot happen here within these next 16, coming up on 15 and a half laps. We're really 16 and a half laps this time by. As they are closing in on the halfway point here for duel number 2. Valkyrie Rayatikian leads the charge. Actually, wait, Ryan Gondello is up here. I forgot that Gondello was up here, so he holds on to one of the final transfer spots along with the 62 of Bobby Maguire, or 62 of William Brock. Maguire is a little bit behind as of right now, so he's maybe on the outside looking in, but he definitely has a really good opportunity to take it 3 wide heading into turn number 1 and steal that final transfer spot away from William Brock. Either that or William Brock can just get to the inside of Gondolo, which is exactly what's going to happen, which will then mean Maguire's chances of making the Daytona 500 will get just a little bit better, as now he pulls up alongside the number 51 as they head down the back straightaway. Double file once again. Heading back into the third corner, William Brock going to take the top position away with Bobby Maguire in tow in the number 3 machine. So move Maguire up into second and into that final transfer spot as they reach halfway here in duel number 2. You also have to keep in mind, just behind Zachary Fitzwater is Ajax Fitzgerald, and just behind Emily Anderson, there's Nikki Fox and also John Andrews. So don't quite think, if you're somebody like Bobby Maguire, I really wouldn't think I'm safe just quite yet, because there's still another 15 laps to go here in this duel, and there's at least 3 to 4 other drivers behind me that also are trying to fight to get into the Great American Race. So there's definitely, as of right now, a lot to lose if you're in one of those 2 transfer positions. Fitzgerald currently finds himself in 4th. Nikki Fox currently 8th, and that's not something that Maguire wanted. Zachary Fitzwater works his way to the inside. That puts him in the second groove, and here comes Fitzgerald to try to take that transfer spot away. He's got it as of right now. He edges ahead of Bobby Maguire and is going to take it 3 wide. He's going to take it 3 wide for the race lead, heading through turn 3. Ajax Fitzgerald making some moves like the rent is due, and so far, he's making it work. And I think that might have worked out for Bobby Maguire after all, because Brock is trapped on that third line where that's no man's land. Maybe not quite as much, because of course Nikki Fox and John Andrews got by, and Emily Anderson makes the move to the inside of the number 92. This is for the lead and for the 4th place starting spot in the Daytona 500. So far, Fitzgerald has it. But can Emily Anderson wrestle the lead away? She's going to have a push from John Andrews, who is also trying to get into the Daytona 500, and he just takes that final transfer spot away as of right now. But don't think you're safe just yet. Chase McClure trying to get to the inside of the 71. Not quite able to get the nose underneath of Andrews, but could do it here heading into turn number 3. 11 laps of racing to go here in this Axalta duel. This time around, Emily Anderson still has not been able to break away from the 92. But as of right now, I mean, Anderson, man, I think she might have just cleared him. Yes, Ajax Fitzgerald gets cleared from Emily Anderson. And now here comes John Andrews to the inside to try to take over that number 1 seed and put Fitzgerald on the bubble and leave the door wide open for Chase McClure to snatch away that 2nd spot. But don't think you're out of the woods just yet. There's still 10 more laps of racing to go. This time by Emily Anderson leads the charge, but Andrews, I thought, was going to cook up a run to the inside, but Chase McClure beat him to the punch. Remember, McClure started 2nd here in this duel, and he's in 2nd once again, coming to 10 laps to go here in Axalta duel number 2. Emily Anderson out of the Elijah Gordon Incorporated camp is leading the charge here at Daytona. Aaron Abel Moving up into the third position, Ray Atikian in fourth. He's going to snatch away the final transfer spot from John Andrews as they come off the corner. Kyler Sustry is in tow in the number 16 machine. And then you get a little bit further back. Wait, hold on a minute. Aaron Abel making the run to the inside of Chase McClure. That may be the thing. That very well may be the thing that Sustry needs. Wow, McClure managed to work his way from the top to the bottom, slam the door on Sustry to try to retain the third position across the stripe, moves back up to the outside. But that's a little risky here. This type of racing from McClure is a little risky, but so far it's working out pretty well for him. But I wouldn't continue to do it because, of course, Sustry is right there. He could pounce, but also Skylar Taylor could, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Taylor's going to make the charge underneath of Sustry as McClure goes 3 wide for the race lead. Anderson being trapped up on the outside, that no man's land. Aaron Abel was in the middle, and McClure manages to benefit from all that. He snatches the lead away. Skylar Taylor right there in tow. Roberto Crown Jr. is there. And Jerry Rose is in the mix. But the fight, of course, is going to be on for those 2 transfer spots as of right now. Sustry and Atikian hold on to those 2 positions. Actually, no. McClure and Sustry hold on to those 2 positions as of right now. But that could change here within these next 7 laps. We're coming to 7 to go here in Axalta Duel number 2. Chase McClure continuing to lead the charge. Skylar Taylor right there in second. They could make a move on this number 52. Maybe heading into turn 1. Not going to be able to do so there. He stays glued to the back bumper of Chase McClure. But who knows? The move could come from the back straightaway heading into turn number 3. Let's watch what happens here as they head down the back stretch. So far, it's a 2-car breakaway. Not much is going on over here with the front 2. As McClure and Taylor still find themselves nose to tail. Jerry Rose, Nia Steidel right there on the inside line. Abby Walker is up here to challenge to try to get herself a good starting spot in this Daytona 500. Travis Crampton, our outside pole sitter, is back in the mix. With 6 laps remaining here in Axalta Duel number 2. McClure continues to hold on to that first transfer seed. And currently Kyler Sustry holds on to the second. John Andrews, a little ways back, of course, right on the back bumper of the 16. But so far, and of course, these drivers are getting a little bit more strung out, so it's going to be a little bit tougher to try to get it whatever positions you possibly can. 5 laps of racing to go. Rose finds himself in the second position. Abby Walker is challenging for the 3rd spot on Skylar Taylor. But let's see what happens here. They could get bunched back up once again. They could. They very, very well could. And so far, that's looking like that's currently happening as of right now. But Rose right there on the back bumper. But Abby Walker makes the run to the inside. This is going to be the move for the second position. Roberto Crown Jr. goes with her. But McClure definitely loving what he sees in his rear view mirror as of right now as he continues to lead the charge through the tri-oval. 4 laps of racing to go here in Axalta Duel number 2. So right now, McClure and Sustry still hold on to those final transfer spots. Wait a minute, William Brock just took it away. He took it away from Sustry. So move William Brock in that final transfer seat to get into the Daytona 500 as of right now. Not too far behind them is Martin Nixon in the number 2. Keep an eye on the number 2 machine. He could make something happen from the back. but they are 3 abreast once again. Up front, Abby Walker tries to take the lead away from Chase McClure. So far, she's gonna do it with 3 laps of racing to go here in duel number 2. Travis Crampton not too far back. Remember, if he wins this duel, it won't matter because he starts second anyways. So 4th place would go to the runner-up driver if Travis Crampton wins this duel. Closing in on the 2 to go mark, this time by Abby Walker, continues to lead the charge. McClure is trapped up on the outside groove, and this could open up the door for William Brock to take that first transfer seed away from McClure, but as of right now, he holds on to the final seed. Martin Nixon not too far back with 2 laps to go here in Axalta duel number 2. Four cars get single file as of right now. That could change, maybe heading down the back straightaway. Crampton peeking the nose underneath of Abby Walker. Zachary Taylor flirting with getting to the inside. But will he capitalize? Yes, he will. He drops low on Travis Crampton and will move up into the 2nd position. But they race off of turn number 4, this time by the white flag falls on the field. 1 lap to go here for Axalta duel number 2. Abby Walker leads. Will she be leading coming back to the checkered flag? Let's find out. Heading back through turn 1 this time. No move has been made from Zachary Taylor or even Sebastian Vaughn. Russell Blaze right there in the 4th position. He'd be getting himself a good starting spot in this Daytona 500 as they work their way down the back straightaway one last time. Heading into turn number 3. Here comes Zachary Taylor to the inside, and Russell Blaze just faked out Sebastian Vaughn as they come through turn number 4, this time by Zachary Taylor with the advantage. They come off of turn number 4, and Zachary Taylor is going to take home duel number 2. He starts 4th in the Daytona 500. And William Brock, along with Martin Nixon, they will take the final 2 transfer spots for the Daytona 500. Oh my goodness. What a race. What a race here for duel number 2. Of course, Zachary Taylor takes home the checkered flag. William Brock will make the Daytona 500. And alongside him, it will be Martin Nixon who will make the show for this Saturday. What a race. That is unbelievable. However, there are some drivers that of course will be going home. Of course, and of course one of which was John Andrews. Andrews, this is the one-off attempt. So he unfortunately will be packing up and going home. But as far as drivers that are going to be attempting all the races is concerned, Chase McClure, oh so close to making the Daytona 500, but he is going to have to sit this one out. Nikki Fox will have to sit this one out. Bobby McGuire, unfortunately, will not make it. Ray Atikian is going to miss out, along with Kyler Sustry, Ryan Gundillo, and Ajax Fitzgerald. Those drivers will have to pack up and get ready for Rockingham this Saturday, or for this Friday, of course, with qualifying. But hey, the Daytona 500 field is officially set. We now know the drivers. We now know where every driver is going to be starting. We know the drivers that have taken over the transfer spots. What a day! What a night, I should say. Really, what a day! Depending if you're watching this on YouTube, of course, this is premiering during the daytime. But this is going to be one heck of a show on Saturday for the running of the Daytona 500. 42 cars are already, they're already in the field. Our 42 kart field is set, and I really want to get them all on the track right now. Let's throw them out. Green flag. Here we go. But no, we have to wait until Saturday for the big day here at the Daytona International Speedway. And with that said, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Of course, big congratulations to Josiah Munsell and Zachary Taylor, our dual winners. Of course, once again, congratulations to Munsell, Gabriel Wanderlei, William Brock, and Martin Nixon. Those 4 drivers claim the final 4 transfer positions to get into the Great American Race. And they will be racing this Saturday. 2 one-off drivers with William Brock and Gabriel Wanderlei. And of course, 2 other part-time cars that are attempting all the races with Josiah Munsell and Martin Nixon. Well, that's pretty much going to do it. If you're watching on Twitch, be sure to hit the follow button so that way you don't miss a future stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't considered subscribing yet, I would highly recommend you hit that sub button so that way you don't miss fine content coming out in the near future. And that pretty much is going to do it here for the Axalta Duels here at the Daytona International Speedway. And coming up, of course, will be the opening race to the 2025 WRLA Pepsi Cup Series season, the Daytona 500. Have a good night, everybody. Take care, and we will see you all on Saturday.